So let's start with that question. What is it? Tim, could you give us a definition of what are we talking about when you say deconstruction?
Yeah, this is really the heart of this issue. At least initially, when we were researching, what is deconstruction, and at least I can share more about this. But we actually kind of changed our minds about what this thing is the further along the research we went. And so it turns out everyone's using the word to mean different things. If you ask 10 different people for their definition of deconstruction, you'll likely get 10 different definitions. And it can mean everything from people are using it to mean everything from I'm asking questions, I'm experiencing some doubts. Maybe I'm moving from like young earth creation to old earth creation. And so that's I'm deconstructing, some secondary or tertiary doctrine. But it can also mean I'm leaving the church, I'm leaving the faith altogether. And that's what we saw, man, especially when it came to Joshua Harris and many others. They equated it
Yeah.
with falling away. And so as we kind of dug deep into the deconstruction hashtag online, what we found was, man, really at the end of the day, deconstruction is a postmodern process of rethinking your faith. Now, here's the key point: without requiring scripture as a standard. And so we thought, man, this is going to be controversial because there's some people that are trying to baptize the word deconstruction. They are trying to use it. They're using it in a way that's they would consider like healthy deconstruction using the Bible. But man, as we spent more and more time in that deconstruction world, in the hashtag on social media, what we found is no one is really using it that way.
Right. Yeah. So it really involves this element of detaching from the truth of Scripture then.
Mhm.
I think so. That's what we saw in as we took in deconstruction stories and spent time in the hashtag, which largely what people need to understand is that this is a phenomenon that's largely happening online. People are disconnecting from their church communities. They're finding communities online that really are an echo chamber filled with false information and propaganda. In fact, I just yesterday saw a deconstructionist post some of the talking points that Bart Ehrman was saying like 15, 20 years ago, as if it's just brand new information about textual variants and things like this. And in that hashtag, he's saying some true things about it, but the way he's analyzing it is just meant to lead people away. And so the point that we're trying to make is that if there's a kid who comes home from summer camp and he's like, "Mom and Dad, I'm deconstructing," don't panic. Ask him what he means because he might just mean, "I really want to make this my own. I want to make sure that the doctrines and the teachings that you taught me are biblical, that I line up with what I believe with reality." But what we discovered is that, and that's why it's important that we say it's a postmodern process. In fact, I was doing another interview and the lady was like, "Deconstruction sounds like this kind of made up word." And I said, "Well, it kind of is in this context, but it actually has a foundation, and that is postmodernism." So you have people like Jacques Derrida, who was referred to today as the father of deconstruction. Of course, he was deconstructing words and text where he didn't think that they had, words could be pinned down to a singular meaning. So what I'm communicating to you, I don't have any more authority over the meaning of my words than you do as the hearer or the interpreter. But then a guy named John Caputo applied Derrida's ideas to religion. And Caputo's all over the deconstruction podcasts. I mean, this is not something that's happening, in secret anywhere. This is very, very easy to observe when you spend time in that hashtag. And so there are Christian voices trying to baptize the word. And we're just saying, look, we get it. We get that instinct to say, oh, deconstruct, but do it in a healthy way. But that's just not how it's manifesting online. So we wanted to kind of give a solid definition and maybe encourage people who are using it the other way to just use a different word like reformation.